Hey, welcome back, everybody. We are not the Hollywood Squares. Tonight, we're the Hollywood Circles. I don't know what the hell's going on here, but whatever. It's the SCB Steelers Podcast presented by DEK Roofing Incorporated of South Florida. Welcome, everybody that is always here with us every week. You guys are awesome, and welcome to those of you who might be new to the show as well. Hopefully you will enjoy it. And yeah, normally we're like squares, but tonight we're circles, and it's a weird feng shui. That's I don't even know.
The circle of life.
Yeah. Wow, really weird, no doubt about it. Anyway, yeah, Connect Four, Philip. You're exactly right.
Let's go, baby.
Anyway, great to have everybody here tonight. And don't forget, we are also very proud to be part of the Variety Sports Network as well. Thanks to Brandon and everybody over there for hosting us here on this StreamYard platform. Yeah, let me tell you what, the Pittsburgh Steelers moved to 6-2. They get
7-2, my friend.
What?
7-2.
We are?
Yeah.
Why do you think I've been harassing you guys all goddamn week?
7-2? We 7? Yeah, I guess we are
fucking predictions.
7-2.
Forgive us for having doubt.
I'm sorry. Who's the only one that picked them to win last week? Oh yeah, that's me.
You were
whatever.
You were a Mike Williams prayer away from.
We'll get into that.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day, Mark.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. In any case, 7-2. My bad. I was thinking Ravens are 7-3. Okay, so
no, Rats
they're
are
8-2.
Wait,
no, what's going on? They're 6-3.
Ravens we just need to start the whole show over. I've had
Here's a group of guys who check the standings before
Ravens
the show.
Ravens are
funny,
7-3. You're right, 7-3. That's right. They didn't have their bye.
You know what?
Yet.
I think it is 6-2. The funny thing is, I was putting together the 3-point stance already. I usually start on Thursday, and that's the first line that goes into that is the two teams and the standings, and yeah. So Basil Hayden, very nice. In any case, both teams are good. How about that? Jesus.
Yeah, it's a good game. It could be a good one.
Yeah.
7-2
anyway,
7-3, and I think I saw something this week that said that this is the first time in week 11 that three.
You're correct.
What was it? It was 3 games featured all 7-win teams. 7 wins or better.
Yep. And yeah, it should be a really, really good. Well, you got us, and then you got the Chiefs and the Bills, and
yeah.
What's the other game?
Bengals at Chargers, and you're 1 o'clock us, 4 o'clock Chiefs Bills.
Yep.
Bengals and Chargers on Sunday night, and you're looking at realistically, you're looking at 6 of the 7 AFC playoff teams.
Yeah,
and I know Cincinnati's a little bit behind, but with that 7th seed now. They're in the mix, and I'm going to take.
I agree with you.
I'm going to take those guys.
Yeah, Jamie, I'm getting vertigo as well. Yeah, I until the Bengals are like dead and buried, I'm not counting them out. The offense is too good.
Their defense sucks donkey balls, though.
It does. But well, what can I tell you? Anyway, I want to dive into something from.
I didn't take the Bengals. Fuck you all.
we are 4 minutes in and off the rails.
Huh?
Anyway, the fake punt, Ian.
Yes.
Your thoughts as you saw everything developing, and then your thoughts once you had time to process.
As it was developing, I was like, what the fuck are they doing? Because as you know, you can't see the all 22 from, the screen. You can't see that there's no guy out there. I was like, what are they doing? And then I was like, oh shit, he's open. And then, oh fuck, he dropped it. And they got the ball at like the 10-yard line. Yeah. So it was one of those things where I understand having a green light in that situation where the guy covering the gunner comes in, and you got to keep teams honest though. You got to, that'll make teams think twice about showing that look, because the last couple of weeks teams have shown that against us where they pulled their outside guy in to try and get more of a rush on the punt.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, bigger picture, after I had a minute to process it, my thought was, I don't mind taking that chance. I just wish they threw it to someone other than James Pierre. Like, if you're going to take that chance, maybe throw it to someone who's actually a wide receiver like Ben Skoranek, who actually had a pretty nice game on special teams.
He did have a good game.
He was great on special teams. Yeah.
But, like, throw it to a guy who's not a cornerback. I don't know. That's where I landed was I don't mind taking the shot in that situation. Would have preferred not to do it from our own 10-yard line and would have preferred not to throw it to a cornerback. But yeah.
Ben, what was your initial thought?
My initial thought was if you have to do that. You have to. If there's nobody within 15, 20 yards of your gunner, you got to do it. Okay, so the call was right. I didn't love it. Maybe you don't do that inside your own 15-yard line like we did. Mm-hmm. That may have, maybe you go, you know what? Let's not do that here. But, shit, if it had worked, we all have been like, yeah, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And I still think that if you get James Pierre out there one-on-one in a foot race versus almost anybody in the NFL, he scores. But you got to catch the goddamn ball. It wasn't a great pass. Okay, he had to stop and reach behind him and all of that. But, dude, you have to. You have to catch that. Have to. Gotta.
Scarps, what was your take on it?
The camera shot on television was the rear angle.
It was horrible. It was the low rear angle.
And at first, I thought there was a penalty called or something because like guys stood up, and then I realized that I was like, oh shit! I was like, wow, like they ran a fake.
Yeah,
this is horror. Oh, that was
even worse. What happened? Weird. Yeah, I don't know.
And then so everybody calls me a hater, but
because you are.
Thank you, but it's a weird play, right? Because they obviously have checks in place where if the gunner is uncovered, they're going to make a check, and you got to and Miles Killebrew is the guy, and he's going to make this check, and he's going to make sure that everybody knows what they're doing.
Yep.
But once they make that check, it is not a normal play because it's almost like it's in slow motion because you have to have a sort of a shotgun-esque snap to the up back, and he's on an angle, and then the guy is 25 yards away and he's uncovered, and it's just like it's almost like it's too slow and too good to be true.
Yes.
And and obviously I agree. I would have rather had somebody catch it that has better hands, but obviously they practiced it that week, and literally James Pierre just didn't catch the ball. Yeah. But Ben and I we're in the chat. Ben and I were going back and forth a little bit because I think it's definitely a first down if he catches.
Oh God, yes.
But I don't think he scores because I do think there was a guy in the middle for Washington that recognized it, and I think he at least maybe pushes Pierre out of bounds. But the bottom line, it's a first down, and I think it changes the complexity of the game. And I know we'll talk more about the game, but I am as critical of Mike Tomlin, but as fair as Mike Tomlin is anybody that I've ever met. And fans were so pissed off about it. But the same fans that were pissed off bitch about him living in his fears. And I tell you what, they had the utmost confidence in their ability to execute that play if the gunner was uncovered, and he was uncovered. They checked to it. Everything went right except they didn't catch the ball.
Yeah. Ben, and I'm not saying that he would have scored for sure. I'm saying if you have an opportunity to create that kind of a mismatch, you take it. And maybe the defender gets paid too. He might make a play. He might have made a play and tackled him at 9.5 yards as opposed to 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was 4th and 15, I think. It was
okay. So 14.5 yards.
Yeah.
Point being,
it was deep.
That guy gets paid too.
Yeah.
It's not a gimme, but in the event that it does turn into a foot race, I'm putting money on James Pierre.
Do you guys think that obviously they have kill calls. Okay, you hear this on broadcasts all the time, where the quarterback at the line of scrimmage is yelling "kill, kill, kill." And obviously I'm sure there's one in that situation too. I just wonder if there were ever discussions about, okay, Miles, this is what we're looking for when you see it. This is what we want to go to. But when we're inside, let's say our own 20, maybe it's not the best idea. That was my thought process, and I'm not blaming Miles Killebrew at all, or even Danny Smith. I'm just simply wondering, was that conversation had? Because that was my thought process. Holy shit, you just turned the ball over at the 10-yard line.
I mean, Ian's dead on in so much as teams will stop giving us that look. They're not going to leave our gunners uncovered.
We won't see that ever again.
We may not see that this season. We might see it this season. Somebody might take a chance. You never know, but probably not.
Yeah.
They're not lining 10 guys up to try and rush the punter.
No.
Claude, hello.
And also, I'll just add one other thing. Considering Harbaugh has a background as a special teams coach, showing that the week before you play the Ravens also probably keeps them a little more honest on their punt block schemes this week.
And I think Freak makes a good point here too. That was in the first quarter. It was 7-0. We had the lead off the great Pickens catch, and obviously they got the ball at the 10. They score the touchdown. It's 7-7, and you're kind of starting over at that point. And I agree. If that happens later in the game, it's probably under the microscope a hell of a lot more. But still, at the end of the day, it was there. The execution was perfect, with one exception. It was pretty good.
It was pretty good.
One guy didn't catch the ball.
The ball was underthrown.
It was.
The throw was terrible, but it was a pitch and catch. So
yeah,
I mean, it doesn't have to be a great throw.
Yeah, right.
Just got to lead him a little bit.
Yeah.
If we talk a little bit about the defense, watching that game, and I think we understood going into this game that Washington was definitely a talented team, up and coming. They're young. I was pretty impressed with Daniels. I think he missed a few throws that could have been huge in the outcome of that game. But that said, I thought he hung in there pretty well for a young guy, and obviously had him in position to win. But
I like his long ball.
Yeah, man, he throws a beautiful long ball.
Doesn't
he? Did you guys, Ian? I'll throw this to you first. Are you at all concerned about what you saw from our defense against Washington?
We played a lot of man coverage, and they had a lot of guys on crossing routes coming wide open across the middle of the field that Daniels missed, especially in the second half. He had some guys open that he just missed or dropped balls and things like that. Lamar's probably not going to miss those throws, and the Ravens wide receivers probably don't drop those passes. So if we have the same scheme this week, that concerns me, because Lamar's probably going to eat us up throwing those. If I'm the Ravens coming into this game and I see what Washington did, I'm saying I'm running those same crossing routes, those drag routes, those 10-yard crossers, and make the Steelers defend, because they're either going to be sitting in a cover 2 zone and you're going to have a hole shot between two, not a true like sideline hole shot, but between 2 underneath defenders, or you're going to be in man and have a defensive back that probably, or linebacker or whatever, probably is.
They're in cover 1 and cover 3 all damn day.
I'm just saying this. If I'm the Ravens, I come out in the first quarter and throw like 5 or 6 of those crossing routes just to see what kind of defense the Steelers are in and what they do. So it's not. I'm worried about that.
And I agree with you. And they are very similar offenses. The things these two offenses do is they threaten you laterally. So they spread out your defense. So the coverage is already going to be a little spotty in the middle as a result, which allows for those kinds of routes right out of the gate. And similar to Daniels, Jackson's not a real accurate passer, but he's got a good arm. And he's more accurate than Daniels, in my opinion.
Yes,
so
that's
it is a little scarier. A little bit. I have faith. I have faith that Deontay will get into his feels and drop some balls.
Actually,
that
I'm
dude-
hoping
That dude seems to be really, really affected by his emotions and unable to control them.
Yeah.
and I'm hoping
Sounds like
that
a
it's-
current guy we have.
that it's not just
It's not
but
as
let's-
bad.
Let's
But
not
yeah,
forget with
I get your
Deontay
point.
Johnson, though. He doesn't drop balls in the traditional sense that they hit him in the hands and go straight down and hit the ground. They hit him in the hands and go up
Right.
a lot of the time.
Boy,
Yeah.
you're right about that.
You know, Minka's looking for that shit.
Yes. So
Ball's coming
yeah.
at Minka. Ball's coming at Deontay. I gotta get over there.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly what if they're throwing it to Deontay, you got to be behind him because
Aaron, that's funny as shit.
Yeah.
We do look like we're in the Love Boat
He's
portholes.
right.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah. no, that was basically my point that when Deontay doesn't catch a ball,
It does. It
it
goes
pops up,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
incredibly dangerous.
No, it's incredibly fantastic when he's not on your
I
team.
hope.
Oh,
I
yes.
mean, Vinny, I hope so. Minka
Good,
hasn't had a
right.
turnover. Hasn't been part of a turnover in 20 games. But
well.
I'm a hater, and I don't know ball.
Why,
So,
why are you such a fucking hater, Scarf?
No, Casey will touch on that later. Getting back to Steel Dad, getting back to your
Yeah,
point. I am concerned about the defense. I've been concerned about the defense all year. Washington was down
Good
both
team.
of their offensive tackles.
Yep.
They were down their starting running back. Jaden Daniels looked a little bit rusty. He missed wide open guys,
Yeah.
and there are several examples of that. They gave up 27 points. They didn't give up a lot of yards, and you know how Steelers fans are. When Steelers fans don't give up a lot of points but give up a lot of yards, it's, well, we didn't give up a lot of points. When we give up a lot of points, Steelers fans say, well, we didn't give up a lot of yards. So bottom line is, and we'll talk about the offense in a second, but if not for another Russ Moonball, this is a lot. It's a loss. And the Steelers are always very fortunate. The ball usually bounces their way. Even though it didn't bounce their way with that fake punt, I can count numerous examples of Washington dropping a ball, Jaden Daniels not running. I don't understand why he didn't run more. But also too, and I'm not picking on TJ. TJ is all world. I'm just saying that they were down both their offensive tackles, and TJ didn't even get on the stat sheet. When Myles Garrett doesn't get on the stat sheet, he sucks. He's terrible.
It's a fair point.
He's horrible. But TJ doesn't get on the stat sheet, and it's, well, they were doing this. The Steelers fans, please listen to me. The same bullshit excuses you make for Minka is the same bullshit excuses you laugh about that Browns fans make for Myles Garrett. I mean, and you don't see that, but it's true. And I'm not saying TJ has to have 5 sacks every game or whatever. But when Washington is down both of their starting tackles and Tyler Biotish was out of the game for numerous plays,
Right.
they did not make Jaden Daniels as uncomfortable as they should have. And there were plenty of times where Washington receivers were winning in man coverage. Joey Porter Jr., I've said this on the show many times, is gonna hit that second year wall, and he has. He is not elite. He is not lockdown. Miss me with that bullshit. He's not. He's young. He could be really good, but he's getting picked on now. And not only is he getting picked on by better, more talented wide receivers, he's handsy, and refs are looking for this. Refs are looking for that now. So yes, I'm still concerned. Do I think it's the end of the world? No, they're 7-2. Their defense is playing okay, but I do have concerns because this is it just reminds me of the letdowns in the playoffs where the offense isn't as good as it has been. And I know Russ is better, but it's bringing back visions of everything that we failed at in the postseason, defensive wise.
Well, okay, real quickly, similar to, and this is in defense of our pass rush, similar to Lamar, if you run past the quarterback, when you're pass rushing
Mm-hmm.
Jaden Daniels, he's going to run. So you have to keep him contained, which means you have to have it's a flat curve coming in, which makes it more difficult, especially when you're TJ Watt and they're chipping you using a tight end and a tackle. 3 guys, at least 2 guys on every play, but more often than not, it was 3 on passing plays. I was like, you got to be friggin' kidding me. That's why the guys on the other side were having so much success, because they were one-on-one all day long, which is great. That's the way it should be. You should be having success when you're in that situation, and they did. As far as the defense giving a lot of yards goes, they always have, man. That's what this defense does. They don't care about how many yards they give up. They're all about creating opportunities for turnovers and not giving up points. I don't like it either. It makes me uncomfortable, but it's just what they've done over and over and over again, and they've been successful doing it. They're not going to change.
Did
The offense, hopefully they continue this streak with Russ and things are okay. Russ is much better than I thought he was going to be when they were talking about acquiring him.
Let me stay on the defense just for a few more minutes, and then we'll switch over to offense. JPJ obviously got a lot of attention this week.
Deservedly
because
so.
Right. Any concerns about Dante Jackson on the other side?
He's
Yes.
little.
He's getting worked. He's getting worked.
Starting
too.
to get worked a little more. And
He's getting worked, and he's hurt. Or at
And
least
he's right. He's not 100%. We've
Melvin,
seen him
you
go
right.
off several times. And yeah, I just bring that up because I felt like there were some plays where he was getting beat. And not exactly by dudes that are studs.
He's
let's
a little guy.
Yeah.
And I will say I got to give props to Washington's receivers, especially Terry McLaurin.
Mm-hmm.
And who was the tight end that got into it with Queen? Bateman?
Bates.
Yeah.
Decent player. Better than I expected.
Good blocker.
to be honest.
Excellent
Yeah,
blocker.
Excellent blocker, but he was getting open in the flat. And I was like, huh.
And
Okay.
Zach Ertz had a couple drops. He was open all day
Yes.
too.
Yeah, Zach
God.
Ertz is not that good anymore. Sorry.
Okay, but he was open.
Yeah, he was.
He was.
But
Which
when have the
makes it
Steelers
even
ever
worse.
covered the fucking tight end?
They haven't. We haven't
just
covered a
don't.
tight end since the 70s.
We haven't. I mean, yeah, that's not true. Levon Kirkland used to cover tight ends pretty fucking
Yeah.
well, and he weighed 275 pounds.
Well, right.
Go
And
figure.
that's back when tight ends weren't really athletes, though. They were just tackles with hands.
Who was the guy
you know.
that he went to college with that played in Algie Crumpler, who played in Atlanta?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Crumpler had a nice career.
And he covered him really well, and then talked shit after the play every goddamn time. Well, they were college teammates. I mean,
Yes.
that's going to happen.
So let's Minka was talked about a lot on social media this week. He's playing well, but he's not producing the splash plays, and everybody picking a side because that's what so many fans do when one of their favorite players gets ragged on a little bit. They go to bat.
It's just because Scarps is mean to them.
Well, he is a bit of a dick, but rightfully
He's
so,
like
though.
making people cry on
And you'll
social
notice
media.
that his moniker tonight says Minka Island, and I think that's in reference to one particular
Oh,
individual who
Jesus
suggested that
Christ.
the reason
I'm just
that
having
Minka
fun.
is having the year he is because he's like Darrelle Revis. Nobody wants to throw at him.
Yeah.
No.
No, the comparisons are not apples to apples here.
No.
And
Minka very rarely is an isolated coverage with anyone.
right. That's I get what the individual was trying to say, but there was definitely a better way to go about it. Let's say
Somebody who doesn't watch film, understand football.
Right.
Yeah, that was a really fucking dumb.
they might both be in the secondary, but those are really different positions in terms of coverage, and especially the way that their specific teams played defense also, to be clear. Highsmith going down, man, that injury looked awful. I'm glad it's only going to be maybe 2 to 3 weeks.
I thought he tore his ACL when I saw it happen. Like,
the way he was reacting, I thought it was worse. But then when I saw the injury, I said, okay, that's his ankle.
Okay.
But even then, I didn't.
But you guys have never done that? Like, roll
Oh
your
my
ankle
God, a
all the
million
way
times.
to the ankle, hit the
a
ground?
million times. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I
So-
do it every summer in the driveway playing basketball with my kid. Every summer.
Haven't done it in decades, but I've done it. I did it a few times in high school. And if you have enough ankle flexibility, you can do that.
Yep.
And shit, I came back in 2 days from an injury like that.
You know,
But of course, I was 17. You can do that then.
Big diff. Yep. I mean, look, I was pleased with Preston Smith. I mean,
Oh yeah, dude. That was really, really reassuring, man.
It was
really reassuring.
That could be, and I know I'm a little bit of hyperbole here. That could end up being as big a signing as anything. If he continues to play as well as he did last week, and if if Highsmith continues to be out, and look, we all know Herbig. Herbig's going to come out. He's going to play with his hair on fire.
Yep.
He's going to get to the quarterback.
Still a one-trick pony, but that
Right.
one trick is pretty fucking nifty.
Absolutely. And yeah, I know some of you guys are talking about Patrick Queen in the chat. And Ben, you made reference to this. He was not overrunning plays the way we had seen through the first 7-8 games.
Yeah.
And that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Both for him and for the other defenders around him.
He's waiting a half a second longer before he pursues.
Yep.
Was what I saw when I reviewed the game the second time. I'm like, he's waiting just a little bit. And that's why he's there, because he's fast enough that it doesn't fucking matter.
Oh man.
Better way of putting it is he's quick. He's one of these fast twitch players that can go from 0 to top speed like that.
He's funner than shit to watch. I mean, when he hones in on something, it's like it's now, and just goes.
And another thing, and this kind of ties in with the Herbig thing, and Vinny talked about this earlier. When Alex Highsmith doesn't get a sack for a couple games, he sucks. He sucks, right?
Yeah.
Minka doesn't do anything for 20 games, but he's fucking all pro anyway. But the reason why people say that Highsmith sucks is because they're like, oh, the little Herbig, he's good. He's not going to do shit this weekend because Lamar is going to understand that and escape the pocket. But
if they run past him, which God, please tell me they were not going to do that. Please,
and that's a concern with Herbig, as hot as he plays.
Yes, and
Herbie's got to run he's going to have to run a flat arc. They all are going to have to.
So speaking of Queen, wasn't playing well earlier. I think he's starting to find his groove. But the biggest thing for me, and Steelers fans were already ready to crown Peyton Wilson, his snap count has gone down, and Landon Roberts is taking back that role. Now, is that because Peyton Wilson's not a good player? No, I don't think that's what it is. I just think that Peyton Wilson is showing some rookie woes, and that's okay.
I think that Peyton Wilson is Queen's backup, and Queen is playing better successively over the weeks.
But Peyton Wilson was out snapping Landon Roberts
he was
game.
For a little bit. He was playing he plays in more of the passing offenses, and Sunday especially he didn't play much at all, which okay, weird, but whatever.
Which kind of surprised me. I thought against an athletic offense like the Commanders have, I thought Wilson would play more, but he did
regardless, not. Wilson's going to be a good player.
Absolutely.
And he's a special teams contributor on top of that. So, hey, glad to have him. It was a good pick.
I think the other thing we have to realize too is that we had some struggles stopping the run a few previous games. So the guy you bring in when you want to stop the run is not Peyton Wilson, it's Landon Roberts.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this week, considering we've got Derrick Henry in the backfield, we're going to be seeing a lot of Landon. I mean,
you need a guy who can stack and shed and hit.
Yes. Every snap Henry is on the field, Roberts needs to be on the field too.
Yes.
The interesting thing with Henry,
may create some mismatches, my friend. I mean,
Yeah.
especially if they're counting outside in, like you pointed out many times.
They've actually gotten a little bit away from that this
They
year.
have.
They've done better in the secondary of when teams split out. You know, I've seen a few plays where teams have split out like a fullback, and Landon Roberts pulls out of the formation. The problem there is then teams will run the ball because they get Roberts out of the box by splitting him out wide. But they've done better with that matching from the outside in shit, which I hated.
Oh God,
but
that was awful.
There's no perfect way to play defense, right? This is the NFL. Teams are going to find mismatches. So what teams do now is they're like, oh, okay, you're playing man. So you've got a Landon Roberts basically spying the fullback so that he knows where the running back's going to go. Well, if we split the fullback out wide and Roberts follows him, now he's not in the box and we're going to hand it off. So it's just, teams are going to find ways to move the ball. It's just in this league, and especially in this game this week against the Ravens, like 31 points might not win this game. We might have to score 35 plus to win this game.
Yeah. And you mispronounced Ratbirds, by the way. Describe Baltimore.
Offensively, on Sunday, we saw a pretty epic catch. Really a couple of them from Pickens. We saw another moon ball, and I mean, talk about the stars aligning. Calvin Austin gets dinged, has to go out. Mike Williams comes in, catches what amounts to the game winner. And by the way,
he'd never run.
Right. It was just basically Russell Wilson telling him on the sidelines, "This is what I need you to do. I'm just going to throw it over your shoulder,
run a corner route."
Well, but
I want you to line up wide and run a corner route. Okay, ready?
Who's that remind you of? Roethlisberger.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is what I want you to do.
Yeah, I know.
And then when he saw the coverage and he's like, "I'm probably getting the ball," and then he did.
Mm-hmm. No, it was beautiful. Let me start with
this. Is that
this.
the Crown Roos?
Oh yeah, $9.99 for a jug. Let's rock.
You got to work tomorrow, man. Why are you drinking that shit?
I work remote tomorrow, and I have already put in a solid week, and I'm gonna do. I got an agenda. I got a list, and I'm gonna accomplish it and feel pretty great.
Look at this guy.
I imagine drinking the Crown Roos, you're actually not going to feel that great tomorrow. But hey, good luck with that.
Nah, I'm actually pretty. I'm pretty anti-hangover. The only time I ever really get hungover is when I drink like craft beer like all day.
Oh yeah, those heavy craft beers. Yeah,
Mm.
It does not do that.
Feeding is cold here.
All I really have to do is hydrate. As long as I do that, I can drink all the craft
hydrating. Very important.
Yeah, very important. This isn't my.
This portion of the show brought to you by Hair of the Dog.
No, I drink electrolytes in the morning and then before bed, and it helps me. And then so it's a good continuous cycle. It's the Redmond Light, LYTE. If that's shit, maybe we can get them there.
I was gonna say new sponsor.
I drink Drip Drops 3 times a day, and I do it with a liter of water every time, and I probably drink a gallon of water all in every day. So
nice.
Yeah,
that's
this
excellent.
This guy. Are you the guy, the gym guy with the gallon of water walking around?
I'm not the guy with the gallon of water, but I do have a big bottle, so it's like a full liter, and it's insulated. So it's insulated, so it's nice and cold.
Anyway, we got
here's a guy who's like Austin Powers.
Yes. Right. And I piss a lot. Yeah, there's that.
Or Frank Drebin in Naked Gun.
Oh yeah.
Offensively, we seem to be reaching the point where the offensive line, and I don't want to get too far ahead here, but it feels to me like they're starting to gel just a tad. And that's been something they've done over the last few seasons. They get to about game 8, 9, 10, and then they start coming together a little bit.
The two guys that are playing really well right now are center.
Well, Frazier, I mean, he's not just going to be in the running for like rookie team. I mean, he's looking at a potential Pro Bowl, don't you think?
I tend to agree with you. And
I mean,
I
he's
don't,
playing that well.
Man.
But, to your point about them finally, doing what they do, which is gelling in the middle of the
Mid-season.
season and then playing better in the last half.
Right.
Yeah, it does seem like that's what they've done. But the Steelers have changed out so many pieces every year that it kind of makes it difficult to have that continuity. You know what I mean? Honestly, we haven't talked about it enough on this show. The guy who's playing way over his head or better than he ever has is Dan Moore. And he's not playing well, but he's very serviceable.
I think the fact we haven't talked about him is actually a good thing.
He's going to make a lot of money for another team next year.
Yeah,
he is. We've said that for weeks now.
100%. Unless, seriously, $12 million a year, 12 and a half. That dude's going to get like a 4-year contract worth $50 million. And if he's smart, he just puts the money away and lives on it for the rest of his fucking life.
Ian, let me ask you this. If Dan Moore went to Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan and said, you know what, guys, I really want to stay here and I don't need to make a ton of money that everybody thinks I need to make, would you want him back on your team?
Yeah. I mean, he can play at this level. He's not an all pro or Pro Bowl level tackle, but he's still, arguably he's played better than Broderick Jones this year. And we've talked about Broderick Jones's struggles. Broderick had maybe his best game of the year.
He was better. Yep.
But still,
Broderick was good on Sunday.
Yeah. He's played better. Yeah. So I think, yeah, if he says, hey, I want to come back, I want to, try and do something here, maybe you offer him like a 1 or 2 year deal to be like, to be fair to him and say, hey, stick around for another year or two. We'll do a competition with you and Broderick, right? Because that basically gets you the end of Broderick's rookie deal that you can actually figure out if Broderick is the guy or not. And it gives, at the end of another year or two, it gives you the point where you say, okay, either Dan Moore's not the guy and it's Broderick, and you sign Dan Moore to the long-term deal, and then he's your left tackle of the future. Or you say, Dan Moore, you're still young enough that you can go hit free agency and still make some good money for yourself, life-changing money.
Yeah.
I agree with Ian in so much as and it's all about timing, right? So Jones has got 2 years left after this, plus the option year.
Yeah.
So as long as you don't have any guaranteed money after 2026, you can re-sign Dan Moore, depending on what happens with your quarterback situation.
Yes.
And Russell Wilson's already talking about coming back next year. I told you guys that this week in the chat. He's already talking about it. So that could change things. That and TJ's getting a deal in the offseason as well.
Yeah.
So Omar's going to have his hands full.
Yeah, he does to a certain aspect every year, but you're right. It's probably going to be a little bit crazier this coming year.
It's going to be big deals. Big deals.
We haven't paid a quarterback $40 million ever. I think Roethlisberger's top deal was $25-30 million, somewhere in that range.
Oh shit, we can't upset Ben's feelings, right?
I know the salary cap.
The scale has changed. There's
nothing you can do about it.
Yeah,
right. Totally different. It's just totally different.
Right.
The scale has changed. It's 50 mil now. It is what it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
it's not 50 for an aging veteran. It's probably
it's 50 mil for it's going to be 50 mil now for a top 15 quarterback, in my opinion.
Well, I don't think. What did Kirk Cousins just get? Coming off an Achilles, and he's 30. What?
He got 30 million.
33, I think, because he got 100 over 3 years. So
yes, Melvin, I think Fields is out of here.
I do too.
Yeah.
That's going to piss off. That's going to piss off a lot of people.
I think Fields is out too, and if I'm Fields, I want to go someplace where I can compete to be the starter.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I get that, and if he wants to do that, more power to him. But I think that Russ, who's going to be 36, is probably going to command something in the 30 to 35 million a year range. And it is what it is, man. I mean, you're going to have to pay it, but he's already talking about coming back, so he wants to be here.
I mean,
you're not going to get him. You're not going to get him for like a Geno Smith 25 million a year.
No,
but when you look at like, okay, Matt Stafford got 40 million a year from the Rams when he was in his mid 30s. Aaron Rodgers got 37.5 from the Jets in his 40s. Like you're probably paying, if you can get him for 37.5, that's a steal at this point. Like as weird as
crazy,
that is
isn't
to say,
it is. It's
40,
crazy.
40 million is probably the number. And
I really hope you're wrong, but probably.
Yeah, and I obviously I don't want to get too far ahead. We've still got half a season to go.
Right.
But, you know,
can I talk about Russ for a minute?
Yeah. Of
no.
course.
Go back.
No, there's no mention of Russ. Yes.
So I was trying to think of how to describe how Russ is playing quarterback right now, because I mean he's got the moon balls. He can do all that. He's basically throwing the ball up and letting his receivers make plays. But I had to listen to the second half of the game on the radio. I watched it later, but the radio guys were talking about the wind being a factor there in Washington. I don't know if that was talked about on the television broadcast at all, but and the Steelers did have the wind at their backs in the fourth quarter, which I think helped. But nevertheless, Russ isn't like pinpoint accurate firing the ball, working his way down the field like even like a late career Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, like not Manning's last year in Denver, but he's still not that guy, but he's putting the ball up and giving his receivers chances to make plays, and he's experienced enough to be able to read defenses to know, oh, this guy's going to be open on this route. I can throw it here, hit him in stride, let him do something with the ball in his hands after the catch, which is, I mean, he's playing NFL quarterback football, right? We haven't had an NFL caliber quarterback in a while, and he's doing that.
Are you saying that Kenny Pickett's not an NFL quarterback?
He's maybe an UFL quarterback. USFL, yeah. Change the first.
Finally, somebody other than me says it.
Somebody else is a hater, also.
So but like, I still wouldn't say that Russ is in the same category as like a Josh Allen or he's obviously not Mahomes. He's obviously not Burrow. But he's playing really well right now. He's making good decisions with the football, and he's giving his guys chances. And I think for an aging veteran quarterback, giving guys chances to make plays is all you can ask for. And obviously this team has responded to it, right? Pickens is like all bought in. He's like, throw up the ball. I'll go get it. Like that plays right into his game. The pass to Mike Williams, that was I'm going to throw it up there. You go get it. And so it's not necessarily schematically, it's not a complex offense. It's not like we're coming out here and it's not like we're running like a Kyle Shanahan offense where we're scheming things up and getting guys open. It's like, because the story came out this week about Russ and Arthur Smith like spending Friday nights together going over tape. Which is great. But at the end of the day, Russ is putting his guys in position to make plays. And when we have success, it's when the guys make plays. And when we don't have success, it's probably because somebody didn't catch a ball or something like that. So he's been good enough to make us competitive, and we'll see where it leads us.
I think there's something to be said too, and we talked about this when they made the switch from Fields. They're definitely making an effort to get George Pickens involved relatively early. And look, we know that, and we've talked about it many times regarding the maturity level not always being there, and I think it's a smart move. Even if it's just a little wide receiver screen, let him run around and whatever the hell he does,
He just keeps
what
his
do
head
you
in the
call that?
game.
Like an air? That was like an air stiff arm the other day. He jumped up in the air and then did the stiff arm move. It was very interesting.
He changed direction
Yeah,
midair.
he-
I was
he
like,
is-
why didn't you just plant your foot?
Right.
I call it
Instead,
air
he-
clown because he's a
It was-
clown.
it
He's
was
a fucking
weird.
clown.
No, it was weird, Scarps. He did this weird jump cut thing, and it was like, what the fuck? What are you doing?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
I don't.
he's looking to
Anyway,
fight.
listen. Back to Ian's point, and I think that this was understated, so I want to restate it.
Okay.
The thing that Wilson is doing better, far better than Fields before him, and Kenny Pickett before him, and certainly Mitch Trubisky, who's got all the talent in the fucking world before him,
Mhm.
and even
Yeah,
Mason.
exactly.
Even Mason he's making good decisions with the ball.
Yeah.
And people underestimate the value of making good decisions, of recognition, of making good decisions with the ball and deciding where to put it. We don't give that enough credence. We just look at the guy with arm strength and the guy can run around and he's a great athlete and blah, 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 and he should be the guy. No.
And the
Quarterback's gotta-
knowledge of
Your
knowing
quarterback has to
where
be
you're going.
smart. Yeah, he's got to know. He's got to know. Like Tom Brady, he was a fucking statue his last handful of years.
right.
He won a Super Bowl ring anyway because he knew where he was going with the ball at the snap because he was smart and he audibled into plays that gave his guys an opportunity to make plays, which is the same thing. I'm not saying that Russ is Tom Brady. Time out on that.
No,
but
no.
the thing he is doing, and we saw Ben do this late in his career too,
Mhm.
is he's giving guys an opportunity to make plays because he's telling them, don't do what we called, do this instead. He's changing the play at the line,
Mhm.
and then he's making good decisions with the ball based upon what the defense gives him. And I think that is where, I'm sorry, Justin Fields falls down. And he's never been a guy who's been great with recognition. Never has.
I
He's
think
more
it's
of
been
a-
obvious.
He's more of a Cordell Stewart type.
Yeah.
Okay, one read, two read. Those aren't there. Run.
Yeah, and that's fine. That he is who he is. For me, watching the last three games, it's abundantly clear that that's the biggest difference. Is that when I see Russell Wilson at the line of scrimmage,
He is in command. Like he
oh
is
my
making
God,
calls.
excellent.
He's audibling. He's yeah.
I mean, it's
Sorry, I
it's-
interrupted you. but
No, you're exactly right. I mean, you see a guy that is not only is he in command, but he's confident. He knows where he's going, and when he makes a poor throw or if he makes a poor decision, you see him get in the huddle and he's patting his chest like, "Guys, it's on me. You're fine. This one's my fault." Things like that. I think that's probably why he's talking about coming back, because I think this team has really kind of embraced him. And I see every single week, I see people commenting about how can't you love this guy? And right now it's true. And Scarps, you talked about this too, that some Steelers fans will probably get annoyed with him.
Scarps doesn't want to
Because-
like anybody. He's a hater.
He
can't do
is
that.
a
That's
hater.
bullshit.
He is
I've
a
been on
hater.
the Russ bus since day one.
Russ,
all
Russ.
And all
But-
you loser.
but
and
no,
all
you-
and-
You've said numerous times that when he loses, he's still going to talk positively.
Got a
and
rise
it's
out
gonna
of Scarps.
irritate people.
yeah, that's what she said. But the point being is that when Mike Tomlin made the decision to go to Russell Wilson, you all fucking cried about it. Like you were like, how could he how dare he go away from this generational talent that can't read a fucking defense to save his life?
That's his
but-
problem. I mean, the
but
dude
so-
physically
so-
has got all the talent in the world, but
So-
it's in
so
here.
I've been
Yeah.
I've been on the Russ bus since day one.
Hater.
And I said this on X earlier, and I'm gonna say it now. When Arthur Smith was hired, based on the quarterback room we had at the time, I thought it was
Kenny
a safe
Pickett.
hire. I thought it was a safe hire. Okay.
Sure.
But the moment they upgraded the quarterback room with Russ and Fields, I was still skeptical, but Russ and Arthur Smith are a really good combination.
yeah.
And I think
They're-
Russ, I think Russ, this is just a really good combination.
Yeah.
And Russ says all the right things, does all the right things. He's at fucking Children's Hospital.
I mean, Sean's way better. Sean
every
Payton's way
Tuesday.
better than
than
Arthur Smith. But yeah, whatever.
You know, it's funny because how many assholes believe Sean Payton over Russell Wilson? And I mean, it's not like Sean Payton was suspended for a year for Bountygate. I mean, what the fuck? Don't let facts stand in the way of your feelings. And you know, here's what I want to say though about Russ. I think he's playing well.
Yeah.
I have concerns though that he is not taking the easy ones and he's just throwing these moon balls and giving it up for the receivers to make a play. And I will
have
say
a theory about that.
And give me one. Let me just finish this.
Okay.
I just want to say that
Can I finish?
It has worked. It has worked, but in this past game, it didn't work always, and he threw a pick. But the fact that this offense can score and Russ is a pro, I don't think that pick mattered as much. But the point is, I don't think throwing these one-on-one balls and these moon balls is a sustainable type of thing for the future. And I have concerns about that. But I would rather it be Russ throwing the moon balls than Justin Fields. Because Justin Fields doesn't know how to throw a moon ball. He throws a fucking 95-mile-an-hour fastball like Randy fucking Johnson. Okay,
Yeah.
let's just be real.
Exactly. I think that I look at Russ in the huddle by comparison to his offensive linemen who are like a foot taller than he is.
Yeah,
okay, it's an exaggeration, but they're like seriously between 6 and 10 inches taller than he is.
Some cases,
and I wonder if he misses guys that are open in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Because there are guys that flash open and you got to throw it now. And he misses them in favor of throwing that longer ball. And we've been fortunate in so much as that longer ball has been successful. But there are also times that there's been a guy who's flashed open in the middle of the field and he misses it and takes a sack. And that's annoying as fuck. But Ian warned me about that before they acquired him. So yeah, there's that.
Well, I mean, but that was a knock on Wilson coming out of Wisconsin. Was that oh Jesus, this guy going to be able to see over the line? And I think in most cases he's been okay. But I think your point still stands. I think there's times when you're at that height, you just can't see everything downfield
unless you take a deep drop.
Yeah, I mean now he's fine when he's on the edges. Doesn't have everybody in front of him, but
right.
That might be a bigger concern next year as he gets a year older and maybe
I really want to see them run a 4 vert. I really want to see that at some point because Wilson loves that.
I know it. That was a Seahawks classic.
And like you're running cover 3. Okay, we're gonna run 4 verts. Cover them all. Right. Good luck.
What are you gonna do?
The Seahawks classic was the slot go route to Tyler Lockett against 3 high. Yeah. And it was like, who's the safety in the middle going to cover, right? Is he covering this slot go or this slot go? And
Yeah.
To Aaron's point here, and I know Aaron's he's a longtime Buckeye and everything, so he's going to stand up for his guy. Look, I think
jackass
Fields has handled everything well. He's been a true professional the entire time.
I like him.
I do too. I think he's a great.
He just isn't as good, and he's not. Right. I don't think that Fields is a top. He's certainly not a top 10 quarterback, but I don't think he's a top 15 quarterback, and I don't think he's ever going to be. That doesn't mean he's not as he is better than Kenny Pickett. Okay, who's a first round pick also. All right.
It's like being the hot chick at Ugly Camp.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. That's fair.
It's very fair.
I gotta fuck with you. I gotta fuck with you. You fuck with me all the time.
I do. And that's a fair point. So I think that Fields is a legitimate NFL starter. I just don't think he's a top 15 starter. He may not be top 20. Okay. Sorry.
I think we talked about this when Fields was starting. And I think we talked about this around the time they went from Fields to Wilson, that Fields statistically was basically between 15th and 25th in the league in every category.
Yes.
And I think Casey touched on it, and I think I brought it up, and Ryan was like, "You're ruining my
Casey's
Casey."
an asshole.
Yeah, but at any rate,
Ryan or Casey, both. Ryan.
right,
Both guys.
So I think
Both guys.
I mentioned this in the chat that Russ is third in the league in quarterback rating right now. Lamar is first. I know quarterback rating is not everything, but it's one comparable statistic, right?
Right.
So Russ is giving us top 10, actually right now statistically top 5 quarterback play. I agree. I think Fields is probably in that 15 to 25 range as far as NFL quarterbacks go. But let's not kid ourselves. Kenny Pickett was in the 35 to 45 range. He was backup level. Trubisky was 45 to 60th. So yeah, it was we went from backup level players starting at quarterback to having a guy who was a bottom half but serviceable starter, right? And I would define that as, like, we always say there's not 32 guys on the planet who can play quarterback in the NFL.
Right.
There just aren't.
Yes.
Right.
That is
absolutely
true.
If you're one of the top 25 guys, you're probably not or shouldn't get replaced by a draft pick. Now, Fields did because Chicago had the number 1 overall pick, but I think Fields proved enough this year that he can start in this league and play and win games and be serviceable. He can be one of those top 25 guys, but I agree. I don't think he's a top half guy.
No.
Yeah.
But
that's okay. There are worse things in the world, right?
If you're one of those guys, you are an elite athlete. You are outstanding. Yes. No, I agree with you 100%. And I think we're really fortunate to have had Justin Fields as a backup quarterback.
Absolutely.
It's ridiculously, and people don't appreciate it. It's ridiculously lucky that we had that opportunity. And we got it.
And he did his job. Like he did his job. Like, and for everybody out there that's like, like Tomlin went to Russ. Yeah, he did. You know why? Because Russ was always QB1 on the depth chart, and he was QB1 for the depth.
Yep.
And Tomlin
it never changed for Tomlin.
Maybe Tomlin's words of pole position was wrong, but it's not like Justin Fields lost his job to Russ. It's Justin Fields did the job he was asked to do in Russ's absence. And I know the Fields fiends don't like to hear this, but
they're Fields fetishists. That's what they prefer.
Okay, yours sounds a little more sexual, but that's fine.
Would you go with the term Kenny sexuals and Fields fetishists?
Fields fiend sounds more like a craving, and Fields fetishist sounds more sadistic. But the point is,
Vinny, that's a great statement. Yeah.
The point is that the Steelers, the best thing for Justin Fields this year, and I've said this on the show, would have been if he sat for a year and learned from Russ. But he actually got some playing time and put some decent tape on.
He did.
Got some decent tape. And now he's going to learn from Russ, where the guy is going to probably get another contract from another team that's big, and he might actually have a chance.
He's going to have a good contract, I think.
To show. And, so I don't blame anybody in this situation. But like Justin did the job that he was asked to do. I don't know why everybody's so pissed about that.
No, I want to restate this again.
We got Fields of wet dreams. I just spit out my drink.
We got fucking lucky to have him as a backup quarterback. Ridiculously so. The guy went 4-2. The dude went 4-2 as a starter. I mean, shit.
And what, lost by a grand total of 6 points.
I mean,
3-3.
That fucking Dallas game, he didn't play very well.
No, he didn't. He didn't. But
we should have won that walking away. We should have won that game walking away.
That looks bad every week that goes by, for sure.
That said, the wins over Atlanta and Denver that we thought were kind of like, man, whatever wins,
Look
look
pretty
a
good
lot
now.
better
Those
now.
are better teams. Actually, yeah,
Yes.
Denver's defense in particular, winning in Denver is a big fucking deal.
Yeah. Freak is smoking weed called Animal Face.
It's called gorilla rape.
Freak, where the hell do you live? Freak, where do you live that you can go to the dispensary and find something that's called Animal Face?
I think he's out. Isn't he out in
He's in
Nevada?
Vegas, isn't he? I think he's in Vegas.
That's not my own joke. I don't remember where I heard that on. It was some show I heard that on. It's called gorilla rape.
I don't know. Hey, listen. Quick question for all of you, not you guys. Everybody in the chat. I have to go to Tucson for Thanksgiving. Is there a Steelers bar in Tucson that I'm not aware of? Because I haven't been to a good one there in years. They all pretty much suck.
Yeah, there's this thing called Google.
Scarpino, you would assume, since you know me, that I've already checked that. And I have. And there isn't one. And I'm like,
here's a guy that does his own research.
Are you fucking shitting me? There's not a fucking Steelers bar in Tucson?
Dude, I've actually never been to Arizona, let alone fucking Tucson. If I was in Winslow, Arizona, I'd know a corner.
You get your picture taken in the corner
and see a flatbed forward. But the point is, ain't no bars in Tucson.
There
are any goddamn Steelers bars in Tucson?
Hold on. There, and I don't know that it's still around. There used to be a website. It was literally called SteelersBars.
SteelersBar.com. Yes.
Yeah, and it would tell you all of the places where
I checked it.
Okay, it may not.
So one place is a family place, which I'm like, yeah, my fucking mouth, especially when I'm drinking, no. And then the other place is a wing place. I'm like, seriously? And they're not even open late. So, like, if you wanted to go to a night game, they're going to be closed. So they're not even actually a bar. They're just a wing place. I don't know why they register as a Steelers bar.
How far is Tucson from Pahonix?
Phoenix?
Yeah.
2.5 hours.
Okay, that's too far. Forgetting my geography there for a minute. What are you concerned about in terms of the Baltimore Ravens defense this week?
Their rushing defense.
Yeah.
Their rush defense is really fucking good. Their pass defense sucks my ass.
So therefore, we expect Arthur Smith.
I expect Arthur Smith to go out and try to establish the run that toss sweep that we all love so much. Many times. At least a couple times in the first quarter.
Oh, I'm sure.
With Najee, not even with Jalen, with Najee, because he runs outside still well.
Report today.
He did pop up on the injury report today. Questionable.
Oh, I didn't post it.
His fumble. Was that the fourth straight carry he had on that possession? It seems like he had.
He had a bunch.
Because maybe, but I didn't think the fumble was. The fumble was a result of him. They got kind of under his knees and kept him up.
Yeah, I mean,
and they got under the ball. Like, that was good defense. Sorry,
the kid was working his ass off. I'm not gonna fault him for that.
That was good D. I mean, don't get me wrong. Was Jerome Bettis fumbled that? No, because
I mean,
he would have carried it up here.
It was just a
nope.
Thank you, Freak. I mean, it was just a good play by the defense. He had to have been gassed. I mean, remember, keep in mind too that Warren has been in and out of the lineup. Really,
I don't know
all
that he
year.
was gassed. I just think they kept him up long enough that they had enough time.
I agree.
The series where Najee got hurt.
And
had to come out.
He was dinged up a little bit. I think.
Might have been.
Yeah.
But I think you can keep any running back upright long enough, you can eventually get the ball out.
Yeah. And
when the other team's threatening to score,
yeah,
those are the kind of games you're going to play. And I agree with the guys who were calling the game, it was long enough that they should have blown the goddamn whistle.
Yes. Pittsburgh's
They
own
should have
Gene
blown the whistle.
Steratore said the same thing.
How many times though, when Gene wasn't in the booth, did he
Oh,
not rule a call correctly?
I'm gonna
Right.
get
I
the
mean,
card
for
out.
sure, it happens.
Look, it was a good play by Washington. Unfortunate fumble for Warren.
I don't blame him. Again,
No.
they were working at keeping him upright.
Yeah.
To try to get the ball away from him, that's good defense. Those
Right.
guys get paid too, man.
Yep. Everybody playing.
Discounts this. These are all
Yeah.
professionals. Everybody who plays in the NFL is good.
Good and getting paid significant sums of money. Yeah.
Every single guy, even the fucking practice squad guys, were superstars in college.
So do you guys believe that Smith, despite the very, very good run defense of the Ravens, do you guys think he's going to say, too freaking bad, I'm still going to run the ball down your throat?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he's going to try and establish it. Yeah, which is annoying. I'm going to be apoplectic. I'm preparing myself for the screaming at the TV.
Well, that's going to happen.
And talking shit to Scarps about being a hater during the course of it.
Yeah. It's the Ravens. I mean, we know that's going to happen one way or another. Weather looks good for the game. Supposed to be mid to upper 50s, cloudy, but no chance of rain. At least right now.
You know what, though,
so,
Mark? It's Thursday. That shit could change.
Absolutely.
It's Pittsburgh. That shit could definitely change between now and then.
Yep.
I will say
it could be raining and windy by Sunday.
Oh, it could be raining and windy by now. I mean, it's shit. You just don't know. You know?
Yeah. Since you asked about what worries me, Matabuke is a really good player.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we talked about the run defense, but Matabuke on the defensive line is just outstanding. Kyle Hamilton still out. Good. I mean, Kyle Hamilton,
baby Jesus,
player,
please.
But
please.
the one thing I know their pass defense is maligned. It is. It's been
and they've got pretty good corners.
They do. And I was gonna say the thing Marlon Humphrey does that you have to watch out for is he does that tomahawk chop move.
Yep.
Where
we saw it on Juju.
Yeah,
Fumbles.
exactly. Where he's going for the ball and the tackle at the same time, where he's basically, chopping at a guy to try and knock the ball out while trying to tackle him. And it's kind of like, a couple years ago against Juju, right?
Yep.
They ran that same play multiple times in that game. The first time, Humphrey went for the chop. He missed. Juju got out of the tackle and got like a 60-yard gain.
Yes.
The second time, same thing happened. Crossing route. Juju caught it. Humphrey hit him with the chop. It hit the ball and it came out.
Yep.
So it's one of those things where you just have to be aware when you have Marlon Humphrey on you, to go back to an old Antonio Brownism. You can't be lax on the tuck. You got to be strong with the tuck. Remember that was in Oakland, right? Where Brown got the ball knocked out because he was like, I was a little lax on the tuck.
Yep.
That you got to
12.
Yep. You got to tuck that away strong. So Pickens, Van Jefferson, Mike Williams, whoever else, if you've got Marlon Humphrey on you, you can't be lax on the tuck. You got to secure that ball and keep it strong in your hands because you got to know that chop is coming with him. And that concerns me because this team has been very good so far this year at avoiding turnovers. I know, Fields had that terrible one where he took the sack and fumbled the ball. That Russ has thrown a couple picks, although the one pick he threw was kind of like an arm punt basically in this one. So that one didn't really worry me too much, but nevertheless, like if I'm worried about something in the passing game, it's going to be that chop that Humphrey has. If I'm worried about something in the running game, it's everything Matabuke can do.
Yeah.
The only thing what you just talked about with knocking the ball out, the only guy I'm really, really concerned about with that is Scarpino's favorite player, George Pickens. because he carries the ball
So
like
far away from his friggin'
Yes.
body. Yes.
Loaf of bread.
It is a total asshole when he does it, but whatever.
he carries it like another favorite player of ours back in the day, Holocaust denier, Super Bowl 45 fumbler.
Is he a Holocaust denier? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he is.
I think he is.
I didn't know that.
He
Yeah,
is.
Here's a guy that does.
The guy
Oh,
that,
here's a
that
guy.
James Harrison called the fumble machine.
Oh, Debo. Yeah. Anyway. Let's move on to predictions, and then we'll get to Mr. Casey Kasem, who I'm sure has a tremendous
I fucking hope.
Yeah,
Fucking
tremendous
hater.
long distance dedication tonight. Let's see. Scarp, since you're going to do Casey, I'll have you go first with your predictions tonight.
Can I go second? I'm pouring a drink. Just being honest. With
No,
you.
you got to go first.
Okay, then you're gonna fucking watch me whip. Now watch me pour this
Watch you
drink.
mix your
Whip.
beverage.
Watch me
Now watch
nay.
me whip. Now watch me pour this drink.
All I gotta
last,
say is, like, I think this guy is gonna win, and this is why.
last week I said 27-20 Commanders. Had the perfect points right for the Commanders.
Yep.
I did not expect a moon ball to Mike Williams to win it. And I'm not saying this to be a hater, because if you go back and look, I've been very fair to the Steelers this year. I do want to say this, though,
Okay.
that Lamar Jackson against the Steelers all time has not been great,
Right.
Nope.
but he is so fucking potent right now. It is
Potent.
hard to believe.
His
It is
sperm
hard to
count's really
believe.
high, just like
He-
Ian.
He's as
more
potent as
potent than
Ian
Ian.
is.
Matt
right.
Smith, I'd love to know who you really are. I'd really like
Who he
you are my
really
muse.
is.
You are my muse, but like I would
I
love to
can
know
confirm
who you
he
really
is
are.
Matt Smith. I can confirm.
And I just I think this I don't care. I'm gonna own it, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I think Lamar Jackson has a fucking monster game,
Oh boy.
and I think the Ravens win 34-30.
Holy shit.
Fucking
that's
hater.
That's a lot of points in this series. I don't think anybody scored
is.
over 20 in the last
Last
several
five,
games.
nobody scored 20.
Yeah.
I think the Ravens and Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
I mean, Yinzers can sit there and say, "I'm not worried about him." I would be, because
That's really
he is,
dumb, because they're
look,
really
he
good.
is,
yeah.
he is
He-
on a
yeah.
fucking tear right now.
And let's not forget, he had the one game where they dropped about 8 balls. I mean, he threw the
That
ball.
was last year.
Right. He threw the ball well and didn't get anything in return for it. So,
Which is fantastic. Let's hope that happens
Yeah.
again.
Ian, your selection for the Ravens at the Steelers 1:00 game, which you will be in attendance.
I will be, yes, first time this year. So one thing I think is worth mentioning, yes, Lamar Jackson has not been great against the Steelers, but in the last 3 years, so going back to 2021, 6 games total, Lamar Jackson only played twice against the Steelers.
Yeah.
Tyler Huntley started 4 of those games. And so there's been, these weird injury situations where Lamar hasn't played that much against the Steelers. The Steelers have held him in check, but Lamar has also never had that true, like, Lamar big game against the Steelers.
Right.
So it's hard to say. We have schemed well against him. We have beaten him before. He does not have a good record against us. Coming into the season, I felt like we needed to split with Baltimore. Obviously, it's easiest to win at home. Although last year we lost at home and then won on the road, so who really knows? winning in Baltimore is tough. I'm going to go. I thought we would lose last week. I was wrong about how that game played out. I think, honestly, that Russ is the biggest X factor here, that Russ has been able to do things with this team, with this offense that, I mean, it's what you expect an NFL caliber quarterback to do, but it's not something we've seen for the last few years. So I think this game winds up being a shootout because our defense is not as quote unquote elite as some might have you believe.
Hater.
And yes, and we'll be able to throw the ball against the Ravens secondary. So I'm going to go. Also, let's not forget, Justin Tucker's missed some kicks this year.
He has.
He has missed a few.
He'll get it right this weekend. I'm telling you right now.
Fuck you, Scarps.
Jeez.
All right.
Whatever.
All right. Let me think of my score here. I'm going to go. I'm going to stick to what I said earlier in the show where I don't think 31 points wins this game. So I'm going to go Steelers 37, Ravens 31.
Wow.
Holy cheese and
Oh.
crackers.
Cheese and crackers.
Wow.
Ben, what do you got?
I too think that this is going to be a shootout, which annoys the fuck out of me because I obviously hate the Ratbirds, but they're good. As much as I try to tell you guys they suck, they're a good team. I think that we're going to come out and try to establish the run, as I've already said, which is a waste of fucking time versus this defense because they're really good at defending the run. And then the Steelers will pull their heads out of their asses and go, no, we can't do this. And the things we talked about, the rapport between Arthur Smith and Russell Wilson will eventually be the thing that turns the game, where it's like, this doesn't work. We need to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Like the throw was there. We ran the ball, but the throw was there. They ran this defense. We can do X, Y, Z, and it'll work. And that will be the difference in this game. And it will come down to the fourth quarter like it always fucking does.
Yes.
Steelers, Ravens. You can count on it. I mean, the pregame anxiety is going to, basically from when you get up in the morning until the last tick of the clock, it's all going to be there. It's classic Steelers, Ravens. They're both good this year. I think the Ravens are a little bit better, but I don't think they're going to win this one. I think the Steelers are going to win this one, and I've got it. Steelers 31, Ian, to 28.
Okay. So, and some of you guys, I think Matt Smith might have just touched on this. It seems like every time you have a game where it looks like it's going to be an offensive shootout, it ends up being the complete opposite. I don't think that's going to be the case here just because Baltimore is so bad against the pass. But I will say this. Lamar Jackson's due to have a good game against the Steelers. He just is. And I think it's going to be back and forth.
He's due, really?
I think he's due to have a one of those breakout games against the Steelers.
This will be how many games versus the Steelers?
What's that?
This will be how many games versus the Steelers?
Not as many as you think.
It's only his fifth or sixth, isn't it?
It's not that many.
Yeah.
How many?
I am going to take.
Fucking look it up, Ben.
I'm going to
All
take the Ravens.
I'll be
I'm
the next
going
one
to take the Ravens 24-20.
Fucking hater.
Oh.
Yep. I think
Still
the Ravens
dad,
win
you and
this.
me.
Yep. And then I think we'll get them in Baltimore if all things remain equal. But right now, I think time for a little reality check for Russell Wilson and the Steelers.
All right, this is going to be Lamar's 7th game against the Steelers. He's 2-4 in his career against us.
As a starter.
As a starter, he's just
You just said 7 games.
No, 6. Right. This will be his 7th.
Be his 7th. So he's played,
So he's played
Got it.
6.
So he's
All right.
2-4 as a starter.
He's 2-4. Yes.
Yes. So he hasn't done well, Mark.
Nope. And I just
I don't know.
think-
We have a discrepancy in the chat here. My muse, Matt Smith, is saying 1 and 3, and
I thought it
he's
was
my
1 and
muse.
3 as a
He's
You know,
start.
I'm
my
going with
muse, so I have to
Ian.
respect it.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Ian.
But I love
And,
Ian, so
I
I have to
mean,
respect
I
both.
I looked it up on Pro Football Reference.
So somebody,
Right.
but
well, as Casey's about to allude to, Pro Football
Okay.
Reference doesn't matter.
okay, all right, sorry. I'll do some digging, Matt. We'll
Wrong.
figure it out.
Wrong.
Let's at this time the phone is ringing, and the operator at Casey Kasem Studio is
Somebody
getting ready
find this. Somebody find the actual information.
to- I'm sure it's out there.
Again,
somewhere.
I'm gonna trust Ian on this because
Hi,
he's
this
Ian.
is Gene Kasem.
I mean, Ian
anyway,
remembers weird ass shit and looks up some weird ass shit, and he's always
well,
right.
I just said. I
How do you
trust
guys
Ian.
doubt this?
No, I
and
did see 2
my
and 4
muse.
earlier today, but there was a discrepancy because I also saw 1 and 3. So I don't know if one.
Well,
All
the
right.
1 and 3 people are probably wrong. I'm just
in any
saying.
case,
Uh,
ladies and gentlemen,
we'll look
we're
it
going to turn it over to the
I'm
late
gonna roll with
great,
Ian.
late great Casey Kasem.
Oh, then he just said Ian's right.
All right. All right. Before I do Casey, fucking talk amongst yourselves, and we'll come to a consensus after this.
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
Casey's Coast to Coast, American Top 40. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the week that was November 14th, 1989. Our favorite correspondent, Ryan, is back with us again this week, and he writes, Dear Casey, cover 3 or single high. He's not going to find you. No, he won't. No reason to hide. No pass breakups or forced fumbles. No interceptions. He's none at all. I don't care what the Yinzers think. All I can say is Minka stinks.
Hater.
Casey, that's of course a parody of the J Gals band Love Stinks,
Jiggles bad.
which made it this way up to number 38 on the charts back in 1980. Now, before the Minka maniacs get all mad at me, I do not think Minka stinks. Then again, I've never seen a safety that's supposedly one of the best in the league not have a turnover or force a turnover for 20 games. Minka has become the latest Steeler you can't criticize. Even if you say he looks good on tape, but you thought he'd have more splash because he was allowed to play center field or what you call Minka ball. Listen, Casey, I'm a hater and I don't know ball. And I know there's more to playing safety than getting turnovers. But strangely, he's the only top paid safety in the league that seems to have trouble creating turnovers.
Fucking hater.
He's not a ball hawk anymore. His job is to keep a lid on it. That's cool. So we pay the guy $18 million a year to essentially be a lifeguard. He's turned into Wendy Peppercorn, and everyone else is squints trying to kiss him. That's a Sandlot reference for you folks out there that don't know that.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Casey giving everyone all 22 access was one of the worst things that has ever happened.
Shut up.
Everyone thinks they know what the defense is called and what Minka's assignment is when they don't know shit. They think they do, but they don't know shit. They might as well be appointed to President Trump's cabinet. I mean, we got to have a little fun on the show. But, Minka Island. Yeah, let's make that comparison, Casey. The funny thing about it
Joe
is
Frick
that
about to get
quarterbacks,
roasted.
the funny thing about it is that quarterbacks actually do throw Minka's way. Several credible sources have Minka being targeted between 15 and 27 times this season. And in all cases, the passer rating when targeting him is above 130. The Minka maniacs don't like this stat. It gets them more jacked up than RFK Jr., after snorting dry milk from a goat and lathering himself up in seed oils.
Oh my God.
I just want to tell for the audience, I'm a moderate, so everybody can fuck off if they don't like me. Casey, I'm so old. I remember when if you were one of the best at your position, you actually produced. If Minka played on any other team, these same fans that worship him would be saying he sucks. You're poison. Well, Ryan, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars and keep your radio tune right where it is. I have 5 spots to number 9 this week. Here's Alice Cooper with Poison. I want to love you, but I better not touch. Don't touch. Yeah. I love some Alice Cooper.
Oh, my God.
All
right. Ian,
all right.
Go ahead.
But yeah,
right.
Ian wants to follow up
Ian,
on this incredible statistical thing. Here.
Lay the wood down right now, please.
All right.
I
have an answer. So if you look at Lamar Jackson's game logs on Pro Football Reference,
yes,
it is listed that he is 2-4 against the Steelers.
Okay.
If you go into those games, there were 2 games in 2018 where Joe Flacco started the game,
yes,
but Lamar had a handful of snaps.
Yes.
He had 9 snaps in one game and 13 snaps in another game.
That doesn't really count.
We split those games that year. So Lamar played in those games, was not the starter, but did play some snaps, had some rushing attempts, had some passing attempts. So as a starter, Lamar is 1-3 against Pittsburgh.
Right. So that's the way it should be counted.
In
opinion.
Games he has played in, he is 2-4.
Okay.
So technically,
and I would even go for like the Ben Roethlisberger in Cleveland thing, where Landry Jones came in for one series and got injured, and then Ben came in and lit the scoreboard up. And that's basically, I mean, he played the majority of the game. That should be a win, right? But if he played 9 snaps and 13 snaps, yeah, that shouldn't count.
Right. So to clear the air here and clarify, right? Quick Pro Football Reference is always my go-to, but thanks to the magic of StatHead and being able to go into these game logs So 1-3 as a starter is correct.
Thank you.
2-4 overall in games he has played in.
Right.
Yes.
So I think that's I appreciate that. I do.
Yeah,
I appreciate
there's
the clarification. So that's the way it should be. So 1-3 it is.
Yeah.
But he's won 25% of his games versus the Steelers.
Yeah.
Is that any better than 2-4? No, it's not. When last I checked, it's worse.
Now here's a guy that's doing math on a podcast.
I'm a math guy.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a guy who can do basic fucking arithmetic. You know?
I spit on my computer screen.
Here's a guy who knows fractions. And also I will say the one game that Lamar won as a starter went to overtime. So he has not beaten the Steelers in regulation yet.
Yeah, fuck that
Matt
guy.
Smith, I will find you one day and I will fucking buy you a drink, whoever you are, my muse.
Actually, we'll all buy you drinks, motherfucker.
I literally would love to know who you are. It's fucking it keeps me up at night. I'm not gonna lie.
Harry Carey.
He beat Duck. He beat
Duck. That is right.
He beat Duck that game.
That's right.
I mean,
Matt,
shit.
Right.
That is
Does
correct.
that even count? You beat Duck Hodges, man. Does that really count?
And it took overtime to do it.
That's right. That's right.
We wouldn't be anything without our audience. I just want to say that real quick.
Yeah.
No, I love
Very
you guys.
true. It'd be a very boring
you so
show
much
if we
for
didn't
being here. It makes it so much more fun. It's so much better. Oh my fucking God. Like we used to just talk to each other on it was just our voices on the phone,
terrible.
basically.
It's terrible.
No, it wasn't terrible. It was fine.
But
it wasn't.
Better.
This is way better. It's so much fun.
Yeah. everybody, thank you so much as always, and enjoy the game this weekend. It's a 1:00 kick. Hey, just a reminder, we have a Thursday night Steelers game coming up next week, so we'll be casting the pod Tuesday of next week, and then the following week, of course, is Thanksgiving. And right now the plan is to cast the pod Tuesday of that week as well. So go ahead, put that on your calendars. We'll definitely get out the times of that, just in case we have any time changes. But that's kind of the plan right now, that we'll be doing Tuesday for the next 2 weeks, so that everybody can enjoy both the Steelers and Browns, and of course Thanksgiving. Make sure you check out the website, steelcityblitz.com. And of course, follow us on all the socials. I've even got us on Blue Sky now. It seems to be where everybody's going these days. Because
is that the Ullman Brothers platform? I like
it.
it.
It might as well be. Yeah, I think Jimmy
All right,
Carter's
man.
on there lighting one up right now. Yeah. In any case, thanks so much, everybody. Have a great night, and hey, go Steelers.
Ravens suck.
Call God, CUEUPU.